How's it going, gamers? Welcome back to GVN, and in this video we'll be discussing my opinion on the current status of the PlayStation Vita. Now, the PlayStation Vita is a pretty old system now. It's been out for about 2 years, and it's become a system entirely different than what we thought it would be when we first heard the next-gen portable system. The last game to come to PlayStation Vita from Sony that was specifically made for PlayStation Vita was Tearaway, and that came out months ago. It's been a long time. I remember when the game system first launched, we got a ton of first-party support. We got Wipeout 2048, Uncharted Golden Abyss. A couple of months after, I believe, we got Gravity Rush, and we got all the major first-party titles, and then it just sort of stopped. Before Tearaway, I think the last game we had before that was Killzone Mercenary. That personally is one of my favorite games on the system, and it shows that when you put a good effort into the system, you can get pretty good games, console-level games, onto the platform. With that said, the year is now 2014, and the PlayStation Vita hasn't seen a major first-party release in quite some time. We've gotten HD collections of God of War and Sly Cooper and Ratchet & Clank, but I wouldn't consider those major unique system games for this console. I mean, Tearaway was pretty much the last one we got, and that was months ago. And aside from that, all we've been getting is indies and a couple of third-party support, but not really. Most of the support on the PlayStation Vita is coming from Japan in terms of third-party publishers bringing JRPGs and RPGs to the system. And then aside from that, here in America and pretty much everywhere else around the world, we're getting indies. Now, indies are currently getting this bad rep among the internet of not being as great as retail games. Just because a game is $20 instead of $60 doesn't mean it's worth less or worth more. Usually, most of the time, some of these games are actually worth more in terms of like gameplay value or how great the game is. I've played a couple of indies on the Vita and a couple just on other platforms, and in terms of like a person who owns both a Wii U and a Vita, I know there's like droughts between first-party titles. There's just this negative connotation that you get what you pay for, and that's not always the case. I mean, I'm a person who owned both Killzone Shadowfall on PS4 when the PS4 first launched, and Killzone Mercenary on my Vita. And as someone who's played both, I can tell you I prefer Mercenary way more than Shadowfall. I owned Shadowfall the day the PS4 launched. It was the only game I owned. Played it for 1 hour, just like stopped. Did not like it at all. After a month of having it, I got rid of it. I just did not like it. And Killzone Mercenary ended up being one of my favorite games on the Vita. And that just goes to show, it's not about how much you pay, it's what the game is for what it is. Whether you pay $5, $10, or $20, or a full $60 game at a GameStop, it doesn't really matter, it just depends on what the game is. We're not getting any first-party support from Sony recently. Shuei Yoshida basically said they're not really planning on making that many games for the Vita themselves. They're leaving it up to the indies and other publishers. And in terms of the western side of the world, third-party publishers aren't really bringing many games to the Vita. We got Child of Light and Rayman Legends, Borderlands 2 recently, which wasn't that great on Vita, but hey, it was something. We're not getting that much support from these third-party publishers. In retrospective, we're actually getting a ton of support from Japan. They're bringing a lot of RPGs and JRPGs to the system, and people are loving it. I mean, one of the greatest games on the Vita is actually a JRPG called Persona 4 Golden, which is a remake of the original Persona 4 on PlayStation 2. So now it comes into the reception of the consumer. A lot of us on the internet think that indies are bad because they're cheap, they don't have big companies backing them up, and they're basically just cheap titles. But you're confusing cheap price for a cheap game. And aside from that, the Vita has a ton of features. We get remote play to PS3, although that's mostly more for navigating than actual playing games. But on the PS4, we can play basically any game that runs on the PS4 will stream and be ported over to the Vita via an internet connection. That in itself is an amazing feature. You can play virtually any game on PS4 on your Vita via remote play, such as The Last of Us Remastered, Call of Duty Ghosts, and many other indies that are exclusive on PS4 and not technically on Vita or any other platform. So here's my opinion on the PlayStation Vita currently. It's a great system, it's more than capable in running great games on it, and if you own one, give the indies a shot if you haven't already. Get yourself some PlayStation Plus, try out those free games, because a lot of them are great. Just the other night I was playing Fez, which started off as a 360 exclusive, then got ported over to PC, PS4, and now it's on Vita, and it's amazing on this thing. It's a whole console-like game on my handheld. Love playing it, and even though it's like a $15 game, it's an amazing game. So again, if you own a Vita, haven't bought that many games because you're waiting for that $60, $40 game, give the indies a shot. For $40 you could probably buy like 3 or 4 indies and have a ton of fun on your Vita. Don't wait for Sony to make one because they're probably not going to. And if you're outside the loop debating whether you want a Vita or not, If you own a PS4, it makes great use of the remote play feature. You can play whether you're inside the same house or same room, or if you're far away and have a good enough internet connection, you can even remote play that way as well. And aside from that, there is like 5 great games from Sony themselves that came out when the system launched. And other than that, there's a ton of good indie games already on the system and more that come in the future. So give it a shot if you have the money. It's fairly cheap nowadays too. So that is my rant and opinion on the current status of the PlayStation Vita. If you want to join the rant/discussion area, go ahead and go in the comment section below. Tell me what you think of the PlayStation Vita. Do you own one? Do you want one? Tell me in the comment section below. I'd love to talk about this and we can have a little discussion. As always, thank you all for watching the video. If you guys want to add me on PlayStation Network or any of the other gaming platforms, or just follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or any other social network, I have links to those all in the description below. So thank you all for being some awesome viewers, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Today we'll be looking up some questions you guys left here on my iPad mini. Twin Plays Knight asks, which starter did I choose from the Kanto region in Pokemon X and Y? I chose Charmander because I just love Charizard, so I had to pick Charmander. And he also asked, what's my 3DS friend code?